Welcome back to another episode of the Cage Walk Podcast with Kayla, presented by OddSmokerMMA. Right now, I have pro boxer Stevie, the Sledgehammer, working here with me. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I really wanted to get an interview after your win this past weekend. I just didn't want to do repetitive, and I thought it would be a cooler idea to bring you on the podcast and just get a deeper interview in rather than my 2 minute post fight interviews. So I'm super excited about this. I don't get a lot of females on. So whenever I do get the opportunity to get a female fighter on, I'm like, yes, I love it.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I've had a few, but some are just like, eh. But I understand, I get it. Um, Before we dive deep into, especially this last fight, I'd love to get a backstory on what got you into boxing and why you keep boxing.
Shoot. I mean, in high school, all through school, I was just an athlete growing up. So I did ran track, played basketball, and just super competitive. And after high school, your options are kind of slim to none. So uh, I ended up around some friends that were boxing and ended up in a boxing gym. And sometimes, you don't really pick boxing. Sometimes it picks you. It just kind of grows on you. And I've been stuck ever since.
Yeah, and you do this for a while. You're, if I'm not mistaken, number two ranking in the, I'm going to say it wrong, WBA.
I'm number one I'm in the WBA. I'm number
Number
one.
one. Okay. I thought I said that wrong. So sorry about that. And then,
Yeah.
but still though, I mean, that's got to be an amazing feeling to be
Oh
number
yeah.
one.
Yeah, we made it to the number one spot in the WBA. We're number two in the WBO, and we're in top 10 in the other two sanctioning bodies as well. So, we're ranked amongst, the best fighters in the world right now.
Which is phenomenal. I love that. Especially for females, I feel like, females don't get as much respect in any type of combat sport than men do. So having someone on here who is ranked number one, literally the best of the best, it's so cool. Sorry, it's not like a fangirl moment, but it's like, holy crap, like you're the best, So I love having you on.
Thank
Um,
you.
of course, when you said you left high school and just you have to decide what you're going to do, but at what moment did you realize boxing was, like you said, boxing chose you, but in what moment, what was going on when you realized this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to do whatever I can to become the best.
Honestly, I knew when I first walked in the gym what I wanted to do, but I think it was people around or the people that I ran into or around me that kind of said I couldn't do it, and I think that's what made me want to do it, even more. I think that like fueled it to go as far as it has. Meeting my coach now, Manette Flowers, he was like the first person to really, really believe in me 100% and take it to the next level.
Absolutely. What would you say has been the most rewarding aspect of being a boxer?
The most rewarding aspect of being a boxer. I get to wake up and do what I want to do every day. Not like what I want to do every day. I get to wake up and do what I love to do every day. So I get to go to the gym every day. Um, I get to train as much as I want, and so I think that's been the most rewarding aspect is being able to travel. You know, I don't take vacations and things like that, but boxing takes you all around the world for, whether you're training or sparring or fighting. So, had I not been boxing, I don't think I would have, moved around as much.
Yeah. Speaking of the travel part, this is going to be one of my questions, but since you brought that up, where would you say has been the coolest place that boxing has taken you?
The coolest place. I fought in Colombia a couple times and I really like it there. Like it kind of became like a second home.
I I love hearing different stories about like if any combat fighters, just different places they take them. Like it has to be so cool just to travel. I mean, and do it for your job. Like, yeah, vacations are fun. I take vacations. Like I've gone to all these different places, but to be able to do it for your job, it makes me kind of jealous of fighters.
Yeah, you like it's like a catch 22. I can't really say I've seen like when you go places, people are like, oh, did you see this? And you see it's like, no, you're only going there to fight. You're going there for work basically and leaving, so you don't really get to explore. But I base everywhere based on their food.
Yeah,
I do get to eat.
I That's good if you get to at least enjoy the good food at
Yeah.
places. Um, what would you say, if you never stepped in a gym, who would you be if you weren't a boxer?
Um, I mean, outside of boxing, I'm an entrepreneur, so I've had a business for 12 years. I have a 12-year-old son. So, I mean, outside of boxing, you know, I don't think boxing is my identity per se. Um, I don't know. Whatever I did choose to do, I would have done it 100%. So, would have figured out a way to be the best at it. That's for sure.
Uh, what you said you have a 12-year-old son, so I kind of curious about how like that balance is of having a business, training all the time, being in camps, but also being a mom.
There really is no balance. I think balance is kind of crap. They kind of work around me, to be honest. Having the business, I've learned to kind of remove myself from the situation. I've had to outsource, myself from it. And then my son, he's just along for the ride. He trains with me, trains every day, travels with me. So
That's awesome to be able to bring him
yeah.
up and that he loves it as much as you do, you know,
Hmm.
and be able to do it right alongside of you. Um, Kind of moving back to when I said about the females not getting as much respect. I mean, it's come a long way. I feel like female combat sport, any type of boxing, MMA, whatever, has come a long way. But what would you say if there are any misconceptions that people still have of female fighters?
Yeah, so I think especially a couple of years ago, you could definitely say women weren't getting the respect, but I think now I think is like an exciting time for female boxing. Got to give a shout out to Jake Paul and MVP Promotions for what they're doing for female fighting and female boxers, giving the exposure and equality and the pay and the platform. So I mean, like right now is really an exciting time to be a female fighter. As far as people's perception of women's boxing, I think when I meet certain people or when you hear certain people talk about, some people are still like up in the air about if women should fight at all. Different cultures, different things. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's starting to be more accepted.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. What Jake Paul's doing as well for especially the women's boxing part and just having all that for them, like you said, and giving them that opportunity and making it the same. It's not, oh, you're a female getting paid less, but like you said, just equal opportunity. And I'm super excited to see the growth of women combat sports.
Yeah, I mean, you just saw me. I headlined. I was the main event on a card in Memphis, Tennessee, fighting 8 3-minute rounds. So I mean, like, and that's not the first time I've headlined. So even on a different scale, than some of the platforms, but I mean, we are getting that recognition and respect, I believe.
Absolutely, I agree. What was it like to headline your first event compared to this last one you did?
The first one, oh, my coach, he's been preparing me that since I was an amateur. So like he always, all through my career, he's always tried to make me co-main or main event everywhere I go, just so I can get ready for these moments that are, ahead of us. So I think I've been prepared for it for a while.
That's awesome to you see these amateur fighters and they practice train to go pro and just to get to the top. But I love hearing the fact that whether you're an amateur or not, you were training to headline no matter what. I just you hear these different stories about how people train and sorry, my thought came out and then left.
Okay.
Um, you were always prepared and you knew one day like I'm gonna headline it, and here you are now. You've headlined several. Like you said, you just did one from in Memphis. What does it mean to you that, I know you've done it out of state before, but knowing that you're an out of state fighter coming, really from Tampa to Memphis, use this example, 1,000 miles away, and you're the headline.
Yeah, that was super cool. Manette's from Memphis, Tennessee, so it's become, my home over the years as well. And everybody shows me love there. So I mean, that was really cool to be able to headline there, even though the weather kind of sucked.
I know the weather here has just been terrible. I'm over it. Um, what looking back to the first time as an amateur, you made your walk to the ring to now your last fight here on January 30th. How has your mindset changed?
Man, I think in the beginning it was like trying to prove a bunch of people wrong, you know?
Hmm.
I think when my first amateur fight, it was like I had like a list of people I wanted to prove wrong, and that was like my mindset going into it. And now, it's changed to where it's like I'm gonna prove me and my coach right. Like the people that believe in me, and myself, like we're doing the right thing. Not proving people wrong anymore. Now it's like proving us right.
Yeah, I love that
So I would
twist.
say that's like the biggest difference.
Yeah, I love that. I that shows the growth. I feel like like a lot of people go in with that same mindset when they're starting. People are like, oh, you can't do this, and well, I'm going to prove you wrong. But now here you are. I know I can do it. I'm going to do it. So let me show myself that I can do it. That is also
Yeah.
growth. I love that. I haven't really had that answer before, and I'm totally going to say it's probably one of my favorite answers.
Yeah, because like that only motivates you for so far, but then once you prove them wrong, where's your, now what?
Yeah,
So
like what am I going to do now?
yeah, it's got to be something like on the inside, like but intrinsic motivation, like
Yeah.
I don't know. It can't be from like an outside
I feel like
factor.
the only way you get so far in the sport is doing it for yourself, and having that true love, passion for it, I mean, and to get as far as you have, I feel like you're not going to get there if you're just doing it to do it, being there
Yeah.
because, your dad was a coach or you know, they grew up doing it, but doing it because it's what you want to do. Prove to yourself that I can do it and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and then there's no like wrong answer, like if it didn't work out, there's nobody to be mad at. I'm seeing how far I can go. If I give this 100% or 1,000%, and I have people around me that believe in me, like how far can I really go? And I think we're starting to see like how far that really is.
Yeah, I mean, so my next question, I mean, not next question, but what's next? I mean, you've made it into the top 10, you've made it to the top one. What more do you want for you? Like, what statement are you trying to make now, even though you hold these rankings?
I mean, now I'm the WBA Gold World Champion and I'm number one. I'm mandatory for Stephanie Hahn, who holds the WBA World title. And I mean, that's who we want next. Um, that's, that's the next goal.
Is there a timeline on when you're going to get that fight? I do remember you bringing that up when Jamie Britt interviewed you after your fight. Is that something that's in the works, or is it something that you're just calling out?
Like I said, we're the mandatory for that fight. So I
Okay, I'm
guess,
sorry, I missed that. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. We're the mandatory for that fight. So I guess whenever we haven't like heard anything specifically, but we're hoping sometime this year that comes into fruition.
Well, I'm super excited. I will make sure I'm going to be watching that fight. Going, Stevie, you're at home,
Appreciate it.
of course. What is it that when your time comes? Obviously, everyone has to retire at some point. But what is it that you want fans and your supporters and everyone just to remember you by?
Just I would say maybe my work ethic or resilience. Just follow your own dreams and stay on your own path and you know, you don't have to just do what makes you happy at the end of the day. And maybe it might not be monetarily motivating or like I said, I just get to wake up and do what I love every day. And for me, that's good enough. Like that's what that I sleep good at night like that. Like my coach says, you only have one coffin at the end of your life. Only one person fits in that coffin, and so you better live your life how you want it, not how everybody else wants or sees it for you. So
I love that. I'm gonna steal that. Like your coach, I'm stealing that about the coffin. I like that. I don't think I've
yeah,
ever
he's got a lot of quotes.
I haven't heard that before. I like that. Couple more questions.
Mhm.
Let's say someone's walking into the gym for the first time. They've never trained. They want to be a boxer. What advice would you give them?
Should just I wouldn't say every gym you go to is not a great gym. I will say that. Not every place you go to is going to teach you correctly. However, just go in with an open mind, listen, and work harder than everybody. I would say that's like the main thing. Work harder than everybody, do everything that's asked of you, and then do more. Um, Go home. It's not really what you do in the gym, it's what you do when you go home. Are you going over the things you've learned? Are you studying it? Now there's YouTube, there's so many things to do. But yeah, I would just say work harder than everybody. Be the first one in there, the last one to leave. Don't be scared to ask questions, pick your coach's brain, you know, things like that.
I like that advice. That one's gonna be a clip right there. I like that, and it's very accurate. I've heard that before. When you start, be the first one there, be the last one to leave it, and like you said, talk to your coaches. The only way you're gonna get better is by training,
Yeah.
and giving it 110%.
Yeah. And then study so that you know that what they're telling you is accurate, because not just in boxing, but in a lot of things, you might not get all of the real information, but if you study, you'll know kind of somebody's steering you the right way or the wrong way. And I think that's super important.
Um, back, just kind of steering directions into your camp. Sorry, I've been
Mhm.
all over the place, but when you answer my questions, it like totally jumps off into like another question that I already had planned to ask. Um, but what would you say? Walk me through like what a typical camp looks like for you.
Dude, I'm always in camp. Like we just fought what, Friday?
Yeah.
I was back in the gym Sunday night. So we come home, like we're right back in the gym. Now the intensity level changes, like outside of camp and inside of camp. But let's say inside of camp, we're waking up at 4:30 in the morning and running, or hitting the gym at 4:30. Then a few hours, you rest, you eat, you go back to the gym again, then you rest up again, eat, you're back at the gym, or you're at the track, or we're swimming, or things like that, and then again in the evening. So it's just an all day event, 2, 3, 4 times a day, depending on what's going on.
During that final week, obviously, you have weight cut and it's just a terrible experience. When you're finally able to eat, when you do your weigh-ins, or even after the fight, because I know a lot of fighters don't like to really go in right after weigh-ins, but do you
Yeah.
have a post-fight meal that you love to have?
I typically have like a steak and some pasta. That's my go-to. A couple hours after I start to rehydrate and things like that is some steak and pasta.
Yeah. Totally random question, but where'd you end up going for to eat after your fight?
After the fight, there was nothing open.
Oh, that's true.
There
Duh.
was, I think, after the fight, what was open? It was like 12:30 by the time we got out of there, and Wingstop was the only place open.
Yeah, don't remind me about that 12:30. Um,
Yeah,
Dude, that was a crazy night.
yeah, it was.
It was so fun. I mean, those fights were, I mean, the first three fights what ended in like the first round.
Wow.
I mean, it was an interesting night, but I mean, those fights were awesome. I think Elite, that was my first time with Elite. I think they have a great show, and definitely had some great fights that night.
Yeah, they did a great job,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, I was gonna ask. I again, I'm stepping back. To the advice question that I'd asked you, I want to ask if you specifically had advice for maybe females who are new into the sport and but may be scared or not sure about it.
Not sure about competing or just
Just
boxing in
yeah,
general.
just in general.
I don't know.
Um,
I think everybody, not just women, but like I think everybody should spar one time in their life, or get in a fight. I think you learn a lot about yourself, and boxing definitely brings that out of you. Um, and some of those things you're not going to know about yourself until you are in those situations. And so I feel like everybody should do it at least once. Um, I don't think anybody should. I guess sometimes when people think about getting punched or things like that, they might get a little nervous, but it goes away.
um, I pretty much have gone through my questions. This went a little bit quicker than I thought it would. Uh, Anything that you want to say or anybody you'd like to shout out who's been there throughout your journey?
I mean, I say his name all the time, but Munya Flowers, I wouldn't be here without him. He's been there since before my first amateur fight, all the way up to now, and got me all the way to this point. So yeah, that's who I would give all my shout outs to.
That's awesome. And I guess okay, I guess the last question, but what is it like being with the same person for so long, as your coach and just getting you to this number one spot? And you see these fighters, whether they're boxing, MMA, whatever, but they, they gym hop, they go to all these different gyms, but you've been with the same person for years now.
Yeah. And I think it's super important. I think fighters, they start off with somebody and maybe feel like they're missing something or need to learn something else, and then they'll go find somewhere else. But I don't think that when you do get to whatever you call your success, like whenever you reach what the goal you're trying to reach and you reach it, and it's not the person that has been there from the beginning, I don't know if it hits the same. Like me and Menyet, like I remember, when I first met him and he told me to write down my goals, and he still has that little piece of paper and shows it to me once in a while. And for us to come all this way, all these years later, and have checked off and surpassed almost everything on that list, like how you can't even. I don't know. I can't even. We have a bond that nobody will understand. Like we've been through like it's not just happy times. Like boxing brings out the worst in you too,
Oh, I'm
so
sure.
it's most of your days in the gym are bad days, so I mean we have to deal with that. And but yeah, to make it to the end, or to succeed with the person that's been there right next to you that believed in you more than you did, I mean that means the world to me.
Absolutely. Here comes another question. Now that we talked about that,
Yeah.
has there ever been a moment in your career, whether it was an amateur or pro, that you wanted to give up and just stop boxing altogether? And if so, how did you overcome that?
um I don't think I ever wanted to quit, but there were some moments, and when I was an amateur, where I wondered, like, man, I'm really giving this everything I have, and maybe is it possible that it's just not going to work out for me? Like I had those thoughts.
Hmm.
Um, and that was in 2019. I went for the Olympics and I lost every fight for a whole year. So for every fight in 2019, I lost, and that was a tough year because I was like, okay, one, well, you lose one time, but for the whole year, it's like, damn, like is this maybe you have to be realistic. It's like, is this gonna, but then I had to sit down with myself and like, no, like I can do whatever I say I want to do. I'm gonna figure this out. And my coach told me to take a year off and really get better, and I did. I mean, actually covid
Mm.
hit and
COVID,
gave
really?
it. No, covid was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay. I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever
that
heard
year.
anyone say that.
Yep, because in 2019, I told you I lost all those fights
Yep.
that year, and he told me I needed to take a whole year off, and I thought I was going to be behind by taking a year off, but the world shut down.
Yeah.
The whole world shut down, so nobody could compete. There was nobody really training, and we built a gym in my garage, and I trained 4 times a day like a maniac, 2 in the morning, and came out guns blazing, and like, really closed the gap, and yeah. So yeah,
And
COVID was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
I said,
That's when I really got good.
yeah, that's so funny. And hearing COVID was the best thing that's ever changed. But that leads me to what I was just about to say was here you are now as a pro. If I'm not mistaken, you only have two losses. And I want to say, what are you, 18 and 2, I believe?
19-2 now.
19 and 2. I wonder, that's right, because you just got that win this last fight. But yeah, I mean, you said you lost for a whole year and now as a pro, I mean, 18 and 2, I mean, that's amazing. I have don't know much about you. I know a little bit more about you now. But seeing you fight this past weekend, that's when I had already had my heart set on bringing you on the podcast, and just seeing you so focused, for the weigh-ins and everything, and just you can just tell that you love it, you want this, and you're going to keep doing it to be the best and holding that number one and just doing whatever you need to do. And I have so much respect for you. I'm really glad we were finally able to bring you on and get to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. But yeah, that's really all I have, all the questions that I had, and um, yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Well, please keep me updated on fight news. when you'll be fighting again. I definitely would love to watch, and I love to travel. So, if it's somewhat in traveling distance, I would 1000% come out, watch you fight, and get that post-fight interview on a live one.
I will for sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, real
Yeah.
quick. Where can my followers, if they're not already following you, where can they find you on social media?
Instagram, Stevie Morgan underscore boxing.
Perfect. Y'all make sure to give Stevie here a follow. Stay tuned for some fight news. Thank you again.
Thanks, Hannah.
Of course.